Hey, New Year, New Yogi fam. Welcome to your final video for this challenge. This is going to be probably close to an hour-long full yoga class incorporating all the poses that we did this month. They're going to be kind of out of order, but I'm going to make sure I get them all for you in this class. So yeah, I'm so proud of you guys for making it this far. Even if you just did one day, even if you tried just one pose, I'm proud of you. You did it. I hope that this challenge has inspired you to maybe do yoga even once a week. That's awesome. So yeah, we're going to get started in our easy seated pose. It's the first pose that we started with this month. So again, easy seated pose. It's cross-legged. You can kind of scoop some of your goodness out to feel your sit bones on the mat. If this is uncomfortable for you, please take any variation that's comfortable. So that can be legs out. You can take a bound angle if that's comfortable. If you have really tight hips or problems with your knees, sometimes this pose can be kind of funky. So listen to your body throughout this whole class. That's what I want you to do. Listen to your body. Do what feels right for you. All right, so easy seated. You can have your palms facing down on your knees if you'd like to get grounded. Palms facing up if you'd like to take in energy. You can also bring your hands to heart center at prayer if you want to get connected to that heart chakra. Whatever feels right for you. I'm going to have my palms down because I want to get grounded. I'm going to close my eyes. We're going to work on that breathing exercise that we started this month with. So you're just bringing your attention to your breath. You're not changing anything about your breath yet. You're just noticing it as it goes in and out through your nostrils. Envisioning it in your mind, literally picturing your breath as it physically goes in and out through your nose. And this is what brings us to the present moment, to your mat is your breath. So our intention for this class is just celebration. You did it. You made it to the end. You made it to this final class. Pat yourself on the back and be in the moment. Don't be thinking about, oh my gosh, I finished this challenge. What am I going to do next? Oh my gosh, I didn't finish the challenge. I messed up on such and such pose. I skipped a day, whatever. Let it all go. Focus on the moment and just be happy and grateful and excited that you even tried to do this challenge. Just be proud of yourself. That's our intention. Celebration and pride and gratitude and all that happiness, being in the moment. So we're going to do that breathing exercise that we started this month off with. So I'm going to count your inhales and exhales. So we inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold at the top. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now taking one big community breath, so big inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. When you're ready, you can open up your eyes. We're going to start with our seated twists just to get our spine nice and warm. So we're going to inhale our arms up. Exhale, you're just going to twist to one side. So your back hand is kind of tented behind you. Your front hand's on your knee. You're kind of using that as a lever to pull yourself to twist. Remember to keep a tall spine here. You don't want to be slouched over, nice and tall. We inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, maybe twist a little more. And bring your gaze back to center. Inhale, everything comes back to center. Exhale, other side. Maybe you're gazing over your back shoulder if that feels good, keeping that spine nice and tall. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist a little more. Bring your gaze back to center. Inhale, everything comes back to center. Exhale, you can go ahead and release. We're going to do our seated forward bend now. So you can extend your legs out in front of you. We're kind of warming up our hamstrings here. Don't worry if you can't touch your toes. We're still, our bodies aren't as warm now. So don't worry if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't reach. It's totally fine. This is a great place where you can use a strap to put around your feet. The key here is we're trying to keep a straight spine. We're really trying to get into that lower back. If you want to get more into the hamstrings, totally fine, but this is a lower back stretch. So we're inhaling our arms up and exhaling, folding over our legs. Again, if you can, grab your toes, awesome. If not, also awesome. Nice, kind of rock from side to side. If you really want to feel this pose in your low back, you can even bend your knees. That's getting more of a fold. If you have problems with your lower back, this is a great stretch. And inhale, go ahead and come back up. Next pose is our bound angle. So this is a hip opener. We're bringing our foot bottoms to touch. You're opening up your hips. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can place blocks underneath your knees to kind of hold your knees up. It'll kind of take some of the pressure off of your hips. Again, we have a nice straight spine. You can always scooch some of that goodness out if you want to feel your sit bones more on the mat. We're going to do the same thing, a forward fold over our legs. So we inhale up, exhale, hinging at the hips, trying to keep a straight spine. Doesn't matter how much you fold as long as you feel it. Breathing here. Always remember, you can come back to your breath, come back to your intention. Go ahead and inhale, come up. Next is our wide-legged forward bend. So we're bringing you don't have to bring your legs like super far out. Like again, this is just a warm-up. We're not super stretchy or super bendy yet. Whatever, you can feel that little pull on the inside of your legs. Bring your legs to that point. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. Again, you want to feel your sit bones on the mat. And when we're hinging in any kind of forward fold, imagine a Barbie doll. Like, you know how she bends, like, you know, not with her legs, like just her upper body moves. Imagine that in your head. So when we inhale, we exhale, fold, it's just our upper body moving. And you're trying to keep nice and straight like Barbie. I don't think her spine moves. So generally, I don't recommend Barbie as a inspiration or something. Look, actually, you know what? I take that back. She's a very strong woman, and I think they've made great advances in doing like their curvy Barbies, but this is the one time we'll say, think you're a Barbie. And then go ahead and inhale, come back up. We're going to do our seated head to knee pose. So I'm busting out all of our seated poses that we did through this challenge in this beginning part here. So go ahead and bend one knee in. You're placing your foot on the inner thigh. You're centering yourself over that extended leg. And again, we're inhaling and exhale, folding straight down over that leg. You should feel this a lot in your hip and your lower back, and then that hamstring on the extended leg. It's called seated head to knee because eventually the goal is to get your head to your knee, but you know, goals, right? And go ahead, inhale, come back up, and switch legs. Again, we're squaring ourselves over that extended leg. We're inhaling up and exhale, folding. This is a great lateral side stretch. You're really kind of feeling it up that hip, up the side, in your low back, and your hamstring. And you'll notice that one leg is usually more flexible than the other. My right leg is way less flexible because of a knee injury that I've had for a while. So I start to feel that pain in my knee and I back off, totally okay. Again, listening to your body. If it hurts, you should feel a pull, like a stretchy pull, but if it's a sharp pain, definitely back off. You can always keep a bend to your knee. And we're going to go ahead and come back up. You can shake out your legs if you need to, and then we're going to take it to our tabletop. So you're coming to your hands and your knees on your mat. And we're starting with our cat-cows and our neutral table. So find that neutral table first. Shoulder, elbow, wrist in line. Your hips are over your knees. Your spine's nice and straight. And then we're going to warm up our spine with our cat-cows. So we're inhaling, opening up the chest, gaze going up, dropping the belly. Exhale, rounding, dropping your head, doming out the shoulders. Inhale to open up. Exhale to round. Do about 5 more of these on your own breath. Linking your breath to your movement. You can do what feels good here. I like to kind of rock from side to side. Get into that side body. This is our last one. So inhale, opening up. And exhale, rounding. And then go ahead and bring it back to your neutral spine. So we're going into our balancing table from here. Again, modification. If you can't do both your arm and your leg, just do maybe just the arms, maybe just the leg, whatever feels right for you. If you can do both, awesome. So we're going to start with our left hand. So you're extending your left arm out, active fingers, right foot back, keeping the foot flexed or pointed. Again, keeping those limbs active is going to help you engage that core and keep your balance. So we're inhale, extending. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Whoop, drop the block. Inhale out. Exhale in. 2 more on this side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Go ahead and release the hand, release the knee. Shake it out if you need to. You can probably feel your body getting warm. Go to the other side. So right arm out. Left leg back. Active foot and hand. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, out. Exhale, in. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And go ahead and release. Maybe shake it out a little bit. Now we're going to go to our tiger pose. So feel free, if you like to take the full expression of tiger, be my guest. I like to do it as kind of a flow, especially since we're gearing up to crow pose. This is a great way to prepare for crow. So I'm going to talk through the more flowy, core-y style of tiger pose. Again, if you want to take the full expression, totally go ahead. So tiger pose, similar to the balancing table we just did, except it's just our legs. We'll start with the left leg. You're lifting your left leg up and back, keeping the knee bent, foot is up towards the ceiling. Again, we want to keep an active foot here, either pointed or flexed, whatever feels good. We're inhale, lengthening, lifting up the foot towards the ceiling. You're feeling that in your glutes. Exhale, you're trying to bring your forehead to your knee. And inhale, up and back. Exhale, crunch, feeling it in the core. Inhale, lengthening, feeling it in the back and the booty. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. 1 more. Exhale, crunch. And inhale, lengthen. Go ahead and drop that knee. Switch to the other side. So right leg up and back, bending at the knee, either foot pointed or flexed for your foot. We inhale, lengthen, and exhale, forehead to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. 2 more. So when you're crunching in, that's kind of how you set up for your crow pose. Really engaging that core. Last one. And then exhale, crunch, and go ahead and release. So this is going to be our little resting pose, our child's pose, my favorite. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've taken child's pose in a yoga class and just cried. Like, it just, I don't know why it happens, but it does. It's okay to cry in a yoga class, guys. I've cried many a time in a yoga class. Child's pose is a great place to do it because your face is down and nobody can see you. So taking our child's pose, I like to take a wide-legged child's pose, so bringing my knees about as wide as the mat. Bringing your belly to the mat, extending your arms out, trying to bring your butt to your heels. And just relax here. I feel like after all that movement, we're settling down, we're kind of getting back into our thoughts. That's why it's important to focus on your breath here. Again, bringing it to the present, to your breath, to your mat. All right, and so from here we're going to take it to our puppy pose. So puppy pose is a very similar setup. So if If you're in wide-legged child's pose, you want to bring your knees in. We're making sure this time that our hips stay over our knees. Same upper body position. You're trying to bring your chest and chin to the mat. So this can be pretty intense in your shoulders and your neck and your upper spine. If you can't come all the way down, you can always place a block underneath your chest. Again, don't forget to breathe. It's always important to breathe in these more intense poses. Alright, from here we're going to slowly slide all the way to our belly. We're going to get in that low cobra here. So our low cobra, we're all the way on our belly. Your hands are going to be right beneath your shoulders. And you want to try to keep your hands as weightless as possible. Low cobra is a great way to fire up that spine, focusing more on your back muscles rather than a back bend, if that makes sense. So we inhale, just lifting the chest and the head. Maybe you hover your fingers. And exhale, release. Inhale, come back up. Maybe hover your fingers. Maybe this time hover your hands. Exhale, release. This last time, we're going to inhale up and hold for 3 breaths. So inhale up. Don't forget to breathe. Maybe lift your hands. And exhale, release. Take a little breather. Rock your hips from side to side. Alright, then go ahead and come back to your hands and knees to your tabletop position. We're going to find our first downward facing dog of our practice. And then I'm going to talk us through a vinyasa. It's about to get a real warm up in here, so just prepare yourself. If you can't do, I did a tutorial, the last video, on how to do a vinyasa. If you can't do that, or if it hurts, or whatever, skip it. You can hold your high plank. You can hold your downward dog. Again, we're listening to our bodies, guys. So finding our downward dog from our tabletop. So you're inhaling your hips up and back to the wall behind you. This is our first downward facing dog, so I always like to keep a little movement here. Pedal out your feet, take your dog for a walk. Shake your head, yes and no. You can rock your hips from side to side. Our goal here is to get our chest closer to our thighs. So if you want to, you can bend into your knees, push your chest down towards your thighs, and then straighten your legs. Alright, we're going to shift forward to our high plank. Again, going through our vinyasa here. If you can't do your chaturanga, please feel free to just hold your plank or your downward facing dog. We inhale, shift forward. Exhale, bend at the elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Feels good, right guys? Nice and warm. Alright, so we're going to inhale our right leg and back, up and back for your 3-legged dog. Exhale, bring your knee into your chest and go ahead and plant it for your high lunge. So if you can't bring your knee all the way up into your chest, you can totally grab that leg, position it where it's supposed to be. It should be your knee right over your ankle. For our high lunge, we're going to keep that foot up. Your back foot is active. You have your hands on either side of your foot here. This is where blocks come in. It's always hard for me to get my hands flat on the mat because I'm very short. Also, my boob is in the way. So, you know, everybody's different. Every body can do different things, and that's totally fine. That's just how it is, man. You maybe shift forward and back here, getting into that hip flexor. All right, you can go ahead and lower your back knee. We're coming to our low lunge. Again, keeping that knee right over the ankle. Maybe you come up to your thigh here. Maybe you inhale all the way up. Holding for 3 breaths. Nice big inhale. Exhale, hands come back down to the mat. We're straightening that front leg, flexing our foot for our half splits. So you can feel that in your hamstring. The more you flex your foot, the more you're gonna feel it. Again, we're trying not to like round really deep into our spine here. We're trying to keep a nice tall spine. Maybe you rock your hips from side to side. And come back to your low lunge. We're gonna tuck those toes, come back up to our high lunge. And we're gonna plant our hands. Now you can either come to your tabletop first if you can't go straight back to your downward dog. If not, you're gonna plant your hands, step it back to your downward facing dog, and just walk it out a bit. And we'll take it to the other side. So go ahead and inhale that left leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest. Plant your foot for your lunge. Again, you can always use your hand to bring your foot up there. Knee is over the ankle. If you need blocks, totally use them here. Maybe you rock forward and back. All right, we're taking it to our low lunge, dropping the knee, flipping the toes. You can stay down here. Maybe you bring it up to your thigh. Or maybe you inhale all the way up. So this low lunge, you're really feeling it in that hip flexor. You should be feeling it in this front quad as well. It's also a teeny bit of a back bend. Breathe here, 3 breaths. Anything that gets into your hip flexors is really great for back bends actually, because when you bend back, you also need to have flexibility in your hips to get that full extension. And exhale down, straightening that front leg, flexing the foot, finding that half splits. Maybe you rock your hips from side to side. I don't know about you guys, but I'm real sweaty. My heat is on in my house because I'm a weenie and it's Las Vegas and it's like 60 degrees, but we're still cold. So it's like doing hot yoga in here. All right, we're coming back. That was my knee popping, don't mind that. To our lunge, we're tucking our toes, coming back up to our high lunge. Again, if you need to take your tabletop here before you go down to your downward facing dog, totally fine. If not, we're stepping right back to our downward dog and taking a little walk. Okay, options. Yogi's choice. Choose your own adventure. We love that stuff. From your downward dog, you can either take a child's pose, take a little rest, or if you want to take another vinyasa, go right ahead. So vinyasa again, shifting from your downward dog to your high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and back to your downward dog. I'm taking a child's pose because I gotta catch my breath if I want to finish teaching the class. So whatever feels good, we're gonna hang out there. I saw a meme that was like when your yoga teacher says downward dog is a resting pose. It's like a guy like freaking out, like saying, wherever you are, spend about 3 breaths there. You should feel nice and warm. That heart rate should be up. When you're ready, if you're in your downward dog, hang out there. If you're not in your downward dog, make your way to your downward dog. All right. So now we're going to go through our little warrior side angle triangle flow. So kind of goes similar to what we just did, except we're coming up from our lunge. So find your downward dog. Inhale your right leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest, plant your foot. This time, we're pivoting that back foot so it comes flat at about a 45-degree angle, and you're inhaling up. This is our warrior 1. You want to make sure, again, knee is over that ankle, your hips are square to the front of your mat, and you inhale up. You guys, if you keep up with my posts, I hate warrior 1, I never do it. It's such a weird position for my hips here, and again, everybody's different. My body doesn't like to be like this. I much prefer warrior 2, which is what we're going to open up to. So you're opening up your arms and your hips. You might need to find a wider stance from your warrior 1. So maybe scooting that back foot back. Now our back foot is going to be parallel with the short edge of your mat. Front foot stays the same, parallel with the long edge of your mat. Now our hips are open. So we're going from closed hips to open hips. Arms come out. Take a moment, shrug your shoulders up, all the way up to your ears, and then exhale, relax. Feels really good. Gazing over those front fingers. We're going to find our extended side angle. So we're inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, leaning over that front leg. You don't want to sink into it too much. You want to use your obliques here to kind of keep you up. You're finding that lateral side stretch here. If you like, you can also bring this forearm to this thigh here in the front. A nice big side bend. I'm actually going to take us through a reverse warrior just because I like it after extended side angle. It wasn't one of our poses, but we're going to inhale, cartwheel our arms, reverse your warrior. So your front leg's going to want to straighten, sink back down into it. Your back hand can rest on your thigh. You can take a half bind behind your back. And then inhale, come back up. This time we are going to straighten the front leg for our triangle. This you might want to shorten your stance a little bit. Whatever feels comfortable for you. I'm just going to shorten mine just a little bit here. So both legs are straight. Arms come out. You're shifting that hip back. Someone said that their hip pops a lot in this pose. Mine pops sometimes. So you're shifting that hip out. Inhaling forward. Exhale, triangle. So again, you're feeling it in your core. You're not just like, what? You're keeping active. Maybe gaze up towards that top hand. Maybe you can touch all the way to the ground. Maybe have your hand on a block. And go ahead and inhale. Come back up. I think that was it. And our little warrior flow. So come back to your warrior two. We're going to cartwheel our arms back down to the mat, finding that lunge. And then we're stepping back to our downward dog. We'll take it to the other side. So inhaling that left leg up and back. Exhale, knee into your chest. Planting that foot for that lunge. And then we're pivoting that back foot to flat at a 45-degree angle. Inhaling up to our warrior one. I know I shouldn't bash warrior one. I know the yoga pose that you dislike the most is the one that you should do. Warrior one is a great way to prepare for splits, which I'm working on, but I think that's why my splits are so hard. It's because my hips just don't like being in this position for some reason. All right, we're gonna open up to our warrior two. So again, maybe readjusting that back foot. It's coming parallel to the short edge of your mat. Front foot parallel to the long edge of your mat. Finding that warrior two, gazing over your front fingers. We inhale, shift forward. Exhale, find that extended side angle. Again, you can bring that forearm to your thigh if it feels good. Maybe bring the arm over instead of straight up. We're going to do that reverse warrior again on this side. So we're cartwheeling our arms. Again, see that leg is just like, I want to straight. No, we're bringing it back down. Maybe you take a half bind behind your back. Inhale, come up. This time we can straighten the front leg. We're taking our triangle pose. So arms come back out. Keep that hip out. And find your triangle. Inhale, use your obliques to come back up. Finding that warrior two again. We're cartwheeling our hands down. Finding that lunge. And then stepping back to our downward dog. Again, this is your rest time. So whatever you want to do, if you're like, no, Natasha, I don't want to rest, I want to work, do a vinyasa, you know, whatever floats your boat. Hold your downward dog, take a child's pose like I'm going to do. I love child's pose, guys. I know I've said it like a million times, but it's my favorite. So this is our active rest, or our resty rest if you're in your child's pose. You're breathing. This is that moment where you're like, man, I'm working hard, my heart rate is up, I'm nice and warm. We're bringing it back. Bringing it back to your breath, bringing it back to the present, bringing it back to your mat. Bring it back to your intention that you just finished a whole month of yoga, guys. a whole challenge. Even if you didn't, you try to do yoga and you're amazing. All right, when you're ready, go ahead and come back up. If you're in a downward dog, chill there. We're gonna come to our tabletop and then meet in our downward facing dog. So go ahead and tuck your toes, downward dog. We're gonna come to our standing postures here. So I want you to inhale, gaze to the top of your mat. Exhale, just go ahead and step up towards your hands. Standing forward fold wasn't in our practice or our poses for the month, but we're gonna take one here because it feels good. If you grab opposite elbows, sway from side to side. Maybe a little bounce, great for your lower back. Bring your palms to your shins. Inhale, halfway lift, flat spine. Exhale, fold. And inhale, we're gonna come all the way up to standing. All right, standing postures. You guys probably think I'm crazy because I like to do everything with my hair down, but I hate having my hair up. People always comment at the gym, they're like, you're working out with your hair down. I'm like, I hate having it in a ponytail. It gives me a headache, you know? Anyway, sidetracked. We're gonna take our wide-legged forward fold. So you're coming to face the long edge of your mat. Your feet are coming out. Whatever distance feels good. Again, listen to your body. If you're working on your middle splits, feel free to go really deep. I'm gonna stay about here. I'm inhaling my arms up. And I'm exhaling, folding again, remembering that Barbie, over my legs. I'm gonna scoot now a little bit, because I think I can go a little bit deeper. You feel it in your hamstrings, in your hips, in your low spine. Take whatever variation feels good here. I like to kind of reach back between my legs. This kind of preps for any kind of inversion. If you're working on inversions, anything where your head is beneath your hips is an inversion. So this is an inversion where you're working on getting your head to the mat. You can sway from side to side, maybe bend into your knees. We're going to chill here for about 3 more breaths. I love wide-legged forward fold, one of my favorites. All right, when you're ready, I want you to bring your hands to your hips, and then we're inhaling using our core, lift us straight back up. All right. Go ahead and shake out your legs if you need to. Got a bunch more standing postures here. All right, tree pose. Love me some tree. I think it's kind of a classic yoga pose. If you're gonna do it for the gram, do a tree pose, you know? All right, tree pose. Coming to stand, feet hips distance apart. We'll start with lifting our right leg. So we're putting all of our weight into our left foot. Bring your hands to your heart center. Maybe come up to those tippy toes. You're focusing your drishti, your gaze, on something that's not moving. If you focus on something that's moving, you're gonna start to wobble. So I'm focusing on that doorknob right there. Maybe you bring just to your calf. Again, we never wanna put our foot on a joint, so no ankle, no knee, either calf, or if you can, you're bringing it all the way up to your inner thigh. Once you find your balance, you can grow your branches. There's so many arm variations you can take in your tree. And we hold. We breathe. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart center. And slowly release that foot. Shake out your legs. All right, other side. So putting all of our weight into our right foot this time, hand to heart center. Maybe come up to those tippy toes. Maybe you bring it on over to your calf. Maybe if it feels good, you're bringing it all the way up. Maybe do something different with your hands this time. Whoop. I'm watching myself on video, so I'm getting very unbalanced. Grow your branches, and we hold and we breathe. It's okay if you get wobbly. Trees always wobble in the wind, totally fine. hands back to your heart center. And release. Shake it out. We're going to go into our chair pose. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I look like. Chair pose is great for your hips, for your legs. It's kind of basically like a squat, like you're sitting in an invisible chair. I love it. Alrighty. So some people like to take it feet hip distance apart. I like to take my big toes to touch with my heels kind of open. This kind of depends on how tight your hips are. So find what feels good. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, sink your booty into that imaginary chair. So you want to make sure your knees aren't like, Meh. You're not super arching in that low back. You're tucking your pelvis. You can still see your big toes. You can bring your hands to your heart center, or you can keep them up, whatever feels good. We hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, straighten, shake out your legs. I feel it firing up my inner thighs, my booty, my hips. All right, now garland pose, since we're working on up to our crow pose. This is a great precursor to crow. So garland pose, kind of setting up like your wide-legged forward fold, except your feet are at like a 90-degree angle, not as wide. Bring your hands to your heart center and lower on down. A lot of people struggle with this pose. If you have very tight hips, this is a super hip opener. I've heard that it can bother some people's calves. If you can't come this deep, this is totally fine. Just take it to a squat. You're using your elbows to kind of push on your inner thighs, open up those hips, and we breathe. Can you believe our class is almost over, guys? Our challenge is almost over. Craziness. Can't believe January flew by. Remember how last year the whole meme was like, oh, January lasted like 5 months. I feel like this January's been so fast. All right, you can bring your hands down to the mat, straighten your legs, maybe rock your hips a little bit. Before we get to our crow pose, I want to take us through our boat pose because I want us to get our core nice and fired up before we try our crow. So you're going to come to sit on your mat. Your legs are out in front of you. Now bend them. And as soon as you start to lean back, you're going to feel that core engage. You keep in a straight spine, like literally from here to here is like, oh, core, hello. If this is your boat pose, this is your boat pose. If you need a little bit more, maybe lift up your toes. If you need even more, straighten your legs. And we hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take a nice big forward fold over your legs. I don't know if you guys can see, my toes were totally shaking. Now, crow pose. If you did my little crow tutorial, I talked you through how to get into crow modifications. If you've never done crow before, grab yourself a block, grab yourself a strap. I'm just going to grab the block. If you are like, oh my gosh, I've never done crow, check out my last video. It has a whole crow tutorial. So I'm grabbing my block. I find the block the most helpful for me. And again, if you're afraid of falling, put a pillow in front of your face, put a blanket. I kind of went over it in my crow pose tutorial, but a lot of people are just afraid of falling. That's why inversions are so hard, or arm balances are so hard, because you're like, what if I fall? I'm gonna break my face. You're not gonna break your face, I promise. If you're afraid of breaking your face, put a pillow in front of you. No broken faces allowed. So, we're bringing our toes onto our block. We're bending down. Your knees are coming onto your triceps. Some people like to squeeze their knees on the outside of their triceps. That takes way more core, lower body strength. I find that bringing your knees just right on top of your triceps kind of might get bruised on your tricep, but I think that's a more, you can get deeper into crow, I think, that way. So your hands are coming to the mat. You're coming on your tippy toes. You're planting your hands. Knees are coming up onto your triceps. This is crow. Even if your feet are on the block, you are in it. You're gazing forward. You don't want to gaze under because you're just going to roll right over. You're in crow. Maybe you lift one foot, maybe the other. And release. Take a couple minutes to play around with it. You can use a strap around your arms. If you feel your arms wobbling, you bring it up kind of around your biceps. Put your hands on the mat like that. It's going to keep your arms in place. Mess around with it. If you're like, man, I got crow down, try jumping back to a chaturanga. Try going from crow to tripod headstand. That's probably my favorite transition to do. Mess around with stuff. Find what works for you and your body, what you enjoy doing. I love being upside down, so that's probably why I take it to a headstand. Whenever you're ready, we're going to start to cool down. So get rid of all your props. If you want to turn down the lights, if you want to get layers, we're going to start to cool down. So your body is like my heart rate's like, ah. We're going to start to cool down. You're going to get a little bit cooler. So I'm going to put on socks for our Shavasana, whatever works for you. So we're going to take it to our half pigeon, get into our hips, and then I'm going to do a little extra twist at the end. They weren't part of our challenge, but I like to cool us down like I would a normal yoga class. So for your pigeon, we're going to take it to our second to last downward facing dog. So come to your downward dog. You want to inhale your right leg up. Exhale, bring your knee to the same elbow, the same arm, and then bring your foot parallel to the front of your mat. So the tighter your hip is, the harder it is to get that foot all the way up and get a parallel line with the front of your mat. My right hip is way tighter than my left hip. This is where a block can come in. You can kind of put a block under that right hip if you can't get it all the way down. Your back foot is straight out behind you. Take a second to gaze over that shoulder. Look at your foot. It's going to kind of help square your hips. Gaze over the other shoulder. Maybe inhale, take a baby back bend here. And then exhale, you can put your pigeon to sleep. We're going to breathe here as we start to cool down again. We're coming back to our breath, back to our intention, back to our mats. Couple more breaths here. All right, go ahead and lift up your head. Come back to your palms. Now again, you can take a tabletop here first if you can't go straight back to your downward dog. If you want a little bit of a challenge, you're pressing into your palms, you're tucking those back toes, and you come back to your downward facing dog. Walk it out a little bit. We're going to inhale that left leg up and back. Exhale, knee to elbow, parallel shin, and finding your pigeon on the other side. All right, take a second to gaze over your shoulders. Make sure everything is nice and square and in line. Maybe take that little back bend. And then exhale, fold over your leg. Let your pigeon to sleep. Bring your focus to your breath. I want you to think about the one thing from this challenge that you're most proud of. It could be anything. It could be, I worked on my breath. I got in tune with my breath. I set an intention that was awesome. Doesn't always have to be physical, guys. But it could be. You're like, man, I got my crow pose for the first time. That's amazing. Just focus on that one thing that you're proud of, that you're grateful for, that you're happy for. Go ahead and lift your head up, come back to your palms. Again, tabletop if needed. If not, we're going straight to our downward facing dog. Rock it out for just a second, and then you can come down to your knees. Come all the way to a seat on your mat. We're just going to take a couple of twists here. And then our Shavasana, everybody's favorite pose, corpse pose. Not gonna lie, I also love it. I've also fallen asleep in Shavasana more than a few times. I've had people fall asleep in Shavasana more than a few times. And you know what? I just let them be. That means I did my job. You were so relaxed that you fell asleep, you know? All right, you're gonna go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. You can bring your arms all the way out and extended, or you can bring them to kind of goalpost arms. Inhale here, exhale, drop your knees over to the right. Maybe gaze over your shoulder in the opposite direction. And breathe. Bring your head back to center first. Inhale, knees back to center. Exhale over to the other side. And again, you can gaze over your opposite shoulder if that feels good. And we breathe. All right, bring your head back to center first. Bring your knees back to center. I'm going to take a happy baby here, just because it's my favorite. So you're going to bring your knees kind of down to your chest, opening up your hips. You're going to reach for your feet. If you can't reach your feet, you're reaching for your calves, but you're kind of trying to pull your knees down to the mat. So literally, happy baby, this is what babies do. You know, when they're on their backs and they're looking all cute. You can rock from side to side. Just really releasing that low back, your hips. You can straighten one leg, straighten the other. That feels good. When you're ready, you can release and find your Shavasana. So I'm just going to leave you today in your Shavasana. You can take it for as long as you like. You're taking up as much space on your mat as you need to, letting your arms and legs fall wherever feels good. We'll take one community breath here, and then I'm going to leave you today in your Shavasana. Thank you again for doing this challenge with me and Chelsea. I loved it. I loved seeing all your guys' pictures. And please feel free to tag me from now on in any yoga you do. I would love to see it, even if it has nothing to do with me. Like, I love seeing you guys do yoga. It's my favorite. We're going to take a big community breath. Big inhale through your nose. And exhale it all through your mouth. And relax. Relax your face, relax your jaw, relax your eyebrows. And just breathe.